I work for the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority in Washington, D.C. That's the Metro Rail and Metro Bus public transportation system. The biggest barrier to change is inertia. Inertia is the most powerful force in the universe, not gravity. We conquered gravity years ago, but this is the way bureaucracies deal with change, is they don't do anything to sabotage it. They just sit down and they wait for somebody to tell them what to do. So you devise strategies to break that. The most important thing I have done to drive and change and get the rest of the company to embrace change is I have hired, last 10 months, I have hired 11 business people into the IT department. And the reason for that is, number one, they understand the business. They really understand the business. These are people typically who work at the ground level. They really know. They know what's right, and most importantly, they know what's wrong, and they know what needs to be done to fix it. That also has the further benefit of breaking the technology culture within the IT department. I created a whole system of awards for people who do things. And the last award ceremony I had, this was about a month ago, I passed out 29 awards. 17 of them were business users, not IT people, who didn't work for IT. Now, what else happens? A week before the awards, I let the executive know that I'm giving this award. They virtually have no option but to show up and present the award. So now they're supporting IT. Even if they don't like IT, they are effectively trapped into doing this, and then you do it again and again, and before you know it, all of a sudden they become among your biggest backers.
To foster a culture of change in IT is probably one of the most important things going forward that we can do as IT executives. The reason being is we have a great deal of folks who might be risk averse in an analytical way because we're kind of groomed that way and cultured that way as an IT shop. In order to foster changes in a culture that's very structured in IT, I think what we have to look at is making sure we break down the silos. We have I think, a preponderance to be very, very analytical, which tends to lead to that risk-averse, once again, culture. And so what we need to do is constantly work into more of a matrix organization and pull staff across the integration of the organization to make sure that we have the right level of representation and that folks know that it's okay to work for other people and to do other things, and that really we value their ability to change and move across teams rather than to be set in one particular place doing one job, which may have been the case 10 or 15 years ago.
UGS is the world's largest maker of CAD, CAM, and computer aided engineering and product data management software to help companies transform their process of innovation when developing and delivering on products throughout its life cycle. It is very important that IT not be a barrier to change. In some cases, IT can be rather defensive about previous ways of doing things or existing applications. It's very important not to get caught in that trap. Sometimes projects are feasibility studies. Sometimes it's just a thought. It's an analysis. It's a pilot. It's a chance to try things out. And we need to encourage our folks to do all of these things and to realize that things will come out much, much better in the end if they act as true business partners and explore all the opportunities available to them. The risk of failure is an ongoing problem with riskier projects. And to address that risk, I often describe one of my favorite projects. It was a project that took 3 years to get off the ground. It was my own project. But after 3 years of hitting against a wall and really, by every measure, failing to get it off the ground, all of the requirements came to fruition one day. There was an understanding, there was an agreement as to what to do, and the code came together in 3 months, and the prototype was together within 4 or 5 months. The project was ultimately a huge success in the system in use today. But I often tell the story of the 3 years because clearly some projects will appear to fail when really they need that iterative incubation period.